The 2021 season showed a lot of promise, with some really great bucks showing up on camera in velvet. 3 that really showed potential for being candidates for the quest for 200. Of the 3, 1 we named McQueen, a super 10-point, really struck a chord and became my #1 pursuit. But during the muzzleloader season, after months of patterning him, McQueen had fell to Hunter's bullet. Then more bad news. The big blowhole 9 and the wide 8 had both gone missing. The 9 being killed, and the wide 8, named Radar, was later killed by Mike. So, I was at square one. But, like an answer to a prayer, a super wide 8 showed up in his own pursuit of the rut. This is the hunt for Big Sky.
Alright boys, we didn't have to go too far. I've got a doe and a big buck. Last night probably. I don't know, I'm guessing probably 1:30 this morning. Cutting through. You can see the track. Still has snow in it from when it was snowing last night, so we're just gonna cut through and we're gonna follow it until it starts looking fresh, so I can get a better look at the size. But it looks like a fairly decent buck. They're feeding a little bit underneath these trees. Looks like he's gonna cut up, so I'm gonna put my gloves back on because the wind chill is pretty freaking cold right now. And I'm gonna get on this. I gotta make some time, so here we go. Well, they're in here feeding. I don't like the wind. The wind is blowing basically out of the southeast. It should be blowing out of the west this morning, but it's not. And it keeps gusting forward of me here, so hopefully they J-hook and go up the hill and they're out of my wind. But they're feeding like this, it just tells me they're going to bed down up here on this, up on this hill or close. So we're going at about a medium speed right now. I don't want to go too fast. If I go too fast, I could just jump them up and cause me to have to track them all day long. So it's definitely a good buck. That's a big track. It's a 3x3. It's not a 200 pounder, but it's a big one. I think it's probably that big 8-pointer. So that's our target, is to watch that track today. He's with a doe, or a couple of does. He's just kind of feeding through them with them. So this could be good. So stay tuned. Well, exactly happened what I didn't want to happen. The wind swirled. I think he got my wind. We just taken him about a quarter of a mile running. He's still moving pretty good, so he's ahead of me a bit. He came down this hill back into the cut where we had gone up. We're in this part here is about 20-year-old cut right now. And now he's turned and he's going straight across. There's a trail that cuts this ridge where they always eat in the acorns. I imagine I'm going to find a ton of sign over there. Alright, he's cutting across. This little ravine goes down. I have cameras at the bottom of this on a logging road. This cuts up and it goes out to that oak ridge, and that's right where he's heading. There's big bedding areas up at the top, so we're going to follow this track until day's done, unless we grab a bigger one. Let's go see if we can find him. Alright, I just saw him, just put him up. We're gonna find he was bedded right over here. I didn't have a shot, it's like all whips over in here, and I couldn't identify what he was. It's, as you can see, look in here. See all that snow stuck to the trees? That makes it tough, especially once they get up. All I could see was snow flying. He didn't take off running very hard, he just got up and started going. So, we're on him. We're close. So if he's a decent buck, we should be able to get him before the end of the day. So that's the first time I've got him up that I've seen him. So I'll count that as number 2, meaning he wants to lay down. I just have to keep following. Eventually, if I keep my eyes up, I'm going to spot him. I couldn't see him until he took off. He was in there hidden pretty damn good. So, alright, let's keep moving. Well, this is where he was, right here. You can see he was feeding. He came up from right over there. He dropped down and J-hooked and came up in here. This is in his bed. Looks like he was getting ready to make one, maybe. I don't know. If he's bedded, it may be over there a little bit. I didn't think he was this close. He was over in the bushes more. And I took him when he took off. So, take a walk over here and take a look. There's the antler marks, but looks like there's more than one, but no. Looks like he was gonna lay down right here. Yeah, this is where he was standing right here. He's gonna bed right there, and he must have heard me and stood here. So his track says pretty decent. He's eating, he's wanting it. He's eating and bedding again, so. Yeah, he took off through here. There's more than one. I thought I saw 2 deer here. Alright, here we go. Alright, if you look here, this is where his head was eating. Right there. And then you'll see there's marks right here, right there, some here, some there, and you got antler marks here. So that's a good sign that this deer has got a rack on it. Hopefully that showed up in the camera. Well, we just put him up again. I didn't see him or hear him this time, but he obviously got put up by me. He'd been laying here for about a half hour or so, maybe a little bit longer, about an hour. You can see the bed right there. Alright guys, I just shot at a really nice 8-pointer and it was a clean miss. As a matter of fact, he didn't even hear the shot because it's so windy up here. And I think something spooked him when the bullet went by him because he hopped and then he went back to feeding. And then I kind of lost him. There's about 6 deer in all. There's 2 really nice deer, 2 bucks, a small buck and a bunch of does. So they're kind of moving here off to my right. So I'm going to kind of keep swinging that way and hopefully catch them over here, as long as the wind keeps in my favor. They're down probably 60 yards down the hill. And it's really hard to keep, you see them and then you don't because of all the snow on the trees. So I'm going to keep going. I got to shut this camera off before my fingers freeze. Well, we found a bed. That didn't just seem right. These deer weren't looking to bed. They had already been bedded. So I don't know what that was. That was a different deer, but there were some running tracks heading that way. There's 2 deer heading down. So neither of them looked really big. Not like the 2 that I saw. So we're kind of going to cut back up over here and see if we can pick up the tracks. There was some tracks heading out that way. I think it might have been them. They kind of looked like they were ringing the hill here. And that cut is back that way. And it's got a lot of acorns in it, so I figured they might be going that way. Ooh. They were in here all day, all morning. It took me all that time just to get down in here. Just as they were getting ready. Just as they were getting ready to move out. There's old tracks here from earlier. Man, I can't believe I missed that deer. That was a pretty good shot, I thought. And I followed tracks and got in there, and it's hard to figure it out because there's so many tracks back in there. But I'm pretty sure I got him tracked where he came up and he stood there for quite a bit, just standing there, looking around. And then that other buck come up right behind him. And then they kept moseying this way like nothing had happened. So there's no blood, no hair, no nothing. So I know that I didn't hit him. It was kind of a hopeful shot anyways. It was down in there. I had vitals, but my fingers are some froze. I can tell you that when I shot. I'm thinking I might have pulled the shot. So we're just going to work our way back over here. See if we can figure out what happened now that I've kind of got it determined there's no deer right here. So there's a small bed back here, small buck bedded just on the other side of this hump. And there's some smaller deer that ran by him. These deer are all coming in. I'll show you the tracks here. All this feeding sign in here. They were in here. They were in here eating acorns all morning. They all bedded down. And I can tell you that 3 of those bucks that are with that group are big. They are big ones. There was a major battle here last night. Loving tree here. You can see where one got knocked down here on the ground. This is a pretty intense scene right here. Oh man, there's hair everywhere in here. All the hair. That's some crazy stuff right there. I'll give you an overview of it. There's just all these places where one of the deer was on the ground and they were just pushing him all over the place. I mean, look up through here. All of this is from that fight. This broken branches, logs, all knocked out of the ground. Hair. It's all packed down right here. One of them was on the ground. I'm surprised I'm not seeing a dead deer here or a broken antler or something. It's happened right about just not too long after I came in here, I think. There was a lot of bucks in here all together. And it didn't look like it went well. At least two of them were having it out. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. That's all fight right there. It went all the way up the hill here and came down and ended up behind me. There are like huge chunks of hair everywhere. And whatever deer got hit that lost this fight really lost it, and it looked like it couldn't gain its footing, and the other one kept pummeling it. It's probably why they didn't want to respond to a grunt call. I think they'd probably had enough for the day. And it's so chewed up in here. There's really no tracks. It's so packed down. They were really going at it. Every now and again I end up finding a spot like this where there has been a really big fight. Most of the time you just see some sparring, but this is the kind of stuff that gets antlers locked and deer dead. And at this stage in the rut, you wouldn't think that they'd still be doing this. This is crazy. Look at this, this is a gouge in the birch right there from an antler. And there's a piece of hair stuck right there. These guys are getting it on. Like Donkey Kong, man. And that sounds dumb, but I'm just amazed at how far down this goes and how intense this battle had to have been to churn the ground up like this. They must have been fighting for 20 minutes or more. They even hit this one here. You see where the antlers gouged into the tree. That's not a rub, that's from fighting, pushing each other around. Just spotted a little deer, a little forkhorn it looks like down here at the bottom of this hill. I could smell him when I came up over the top. He's just moseying his way through. He kept looking behind him like he was expecting company. So we're keeping an eye out for more deer. I don't know if there's more here or not. He could just be off by himself with all those bigger ones chasing that doe. Just kind of making our way down here, so I got at least a 60-70 yard shot down to that corner where he just was. Trying to get back to the truck. I'm just gotta go up. I guess I'm gonna have to go around now. If he gets over beyond me here, he'll win me and he'll take off, but I don't see him right now. I don't see anything else yet, but we'll keep an eye out. That's a pretty nice marking post. It's actually pretty good size. Been used quite a bit. That little guy just walked right behind it. And they're coming in and out of this cut, so it's pretty good size. It's been used for years. Another one over there. Another one here started. This has got to be from that big buck that I shot at today. Big buck track right here. That is not from that spike horn. we're going to make sure we get this year. I'd been following a bunch of does this morning, and I kind of got one in camera, and I could hear them moving around up here. I thought they bedded down, but I figured I'd come up the hill and see where they went. And when I get up here, I'm pretty shooken up, so if you can bear with me for a minute. It's been a rough year. I've had a lot of deer on camera that I wanted to get, and I just couldn't get them. But so I'm moving up through here this morning, and I'm finding a lot of doe tracks. I'm not finding much buck. And as I get up to the top of the hill, I stood down here for quite a bit. I could hear some deer blowing down the bank there. Let me get over here so you get sun on my face. So I was all worried about the deer. They weren't coming up, and but I knew there were some ahead of me. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I'm pretty shooken up right now. So I came up and I was standing back right down here by that yellow birch for, I don't know, 20 minutes after they had come up. I was trying to give them some time to get ahead of me, and I heard deer blowing down the hill. I was like, crap, the bucks were coming in later behind them, and I just blew them out. And so I decided I was gonna walk up here and get in the sun. And as you can see, there's a hemlock tree right here, and it's all bare ground. And I figured I could just sit here and we could look around, you know. And as I got by the tree, I looked up, and there was 2 bucks bedded right up here ahead of me. The wind is blowing that way. When I got up in here, I had the sun to my back. He never even acted like he'd see me. So I noticed all of a sudden it was Big Sky. And I just aimed and shot, and he went down. He's right there. So Big Sky is on the ground right in front of me here. I haven't even walked up to him yet. I'm kind of calming down. I didn't think I was going to get one this year. I really didn't. I think it was going to be a bad year. So in a minute, we're going to walk up to him. So I'm going to shut the camera off for a minute and then grab my gun, and we'll walk up to him. All right, here we go. You can see this big bed right here. Somebody's been laying there. Yeah, it must be his track in here. Anyways. You can see him laying right there. He was bedded right by that log. I shot him in his bed. I don't think we got any ground shrinkage here. I think he was laying here. There was another deer with him. I'm pretty sure it was another doe. It ran off. I didn't see. I thought it was another buck, but now I'm seeing it. I think it was a doe, but. There he is. Yeah, that's Big Sky. Pretty good shooting, I think. That's him. It's hard for me to see in that screen. That's Big Sky. It's a big 8. I think I got his shed from last year, one of them. He's going to go pretty good. I don't know if he'll go 2, but boy, I tell you what, he looked like 2 when he was on the ground right here. Yep. Alright. Diane's coming with the jet sled. We'll set the gun down. This mountain has just absolutely been my best spot I've ever hunted. I have shot so many deer here. He was bedded right here. He was bedded right there. He got up, and you can see after I shot him, he came in here and he crashed all over the place. The other deer ran off that way somewhere. I don't think it was a buck. I think he was with a doe right here. For some reason, I thought it was a buck. He's been laying here for a while. Here's his track. He's got a big track. He's been laying here for... a while. You can see where he came in. He is a big one. He may... I don't know if he'll go 200 right now, but he's going to go pretty good. Alright guys, it's been a tough year, but it's not so tough anymore. This morning it was really cold, and as you can see, it's crunchy and loud. So I decided that I was just going to get in here and still hunt this morning. Tracking wouldn't work because you move too fast and making too much noise. So I still hunted this morning. We ran into about 4 does down here in this corner. I tried to film one, and we'll show that to you. But basically, before I got the camera out, she went through the screen. But I noticed at that point that they were making more noise than I was when they were walking, because they were going along and then they were digging stuff up to eat. So what I did is every time that they moved, I would take a few steps closer to them. Why? I know, they're does, but does are bait. And when you're still hunting, it's always good to be around does this time of year. So as they moved up the hill, I moved up. And there was one big track in with them. Now, I didn't see a buck with them, but I could see that track was way bigger than any doe track. I moved up, and there's a spruce tree behind me that we'll show you after. But there's a spruce tree that I always like to stand by when I'm still hunting in the morning like this, because I get warmed up. So I headed for that tree, and as I was getting to that tree, I noticed the buck up here bedded down. And as a matter of fact, he was bedded right here. Well, it didn't take me long to notice that he had an awful big set of horns on his head. So I shot. I aimed for the neck at first, and I hit him. Shocked him a bit. The other deer that was bedded over here got up to run off, a smaller buck. And when he went to get up, I shot again, hit him in the vitals, and down he went. So we'll show him to you here in a second. Like I said, it was a tough year. It's been tough. A lot of guys got the deer that I was after, and thank God that they did, because if they hadn't, I would have still been spending time after them and not getting this one here. This is a buck we call Big Sky. He showed up on the 19th of November this year. Never seen him before. I do have one shed from him from last year, but I'd never seen him. Never had him on camera before the 19th. So I decided at that point, seeing all my other options were out, that I was going to get this deer no matter what. So I've been focusing on this piece of ground. His tracks are everywhere. He's just made this his house. Had I not got him, he would have made this his core, and he probably would have stayed here. He's got everything he needs. So here he is. This is Big Sky. We call him Big Sky because he's so wide. I don't normally get a shot at a lot of these bigger wide deer. Most of the deer I shoot are smaller, more basket. But he was really wide. I guess he's about 5.5 years old, given his size. He's a fully mature buck. He's got a foot on him, like, holy crap is his foot big.
Didn't know a lot about him, but I knew that he was in here. There's 7 or 8 does that are in this area, so I knew that this is where he was going to be. He's just a really nice buck. And what had happened is, you know, I don't know why he didn't see me, but the sun was hitting him in the face, so probably some of it had to do with the sun, and the wind was perfect this morning. For the first time this year, the wind was absolutely perfect to hunt this spot. I'd been dealing with crosswinds and swirling winds up on this hill all season, but this morning it was blowing completely out of the southwest, and it was a perfect hunt. So he doesn't feel like he's very rutted out. He should do pretty well on the scale. I'm pretty happy. I'm more than happy. I put my mind to get this deer. I took all the clues that I had to get him, which we'll go over at a different point, and we got him. We knew that he was going to be here, and I had a formula to get him, and it worked. So, that's the end of the 2021 season for me anyways. Thanks for watching, guys. This is just a culmination of so many things, and just an end to a great season with so much cool stuff that happened this year. We learned so many things about different deer. I'm just so happy right now. And Betsy did her job once again. And I thought I was going to retire her. We're working on a custom Marlin tracking and still hunting gun that we may be using next year. But for this point, I still love my Betsy. She's just perfect. So, thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you later.